Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in good spirits wherever you are in the world. And I would like to take this opportunity, if I may, to once again let you know about a film that has a very strong effect on me. And it is a film that I had the great honor and great fortune to have been able to see in the movie theater. This was many years ago when I was still living in New York at the time. And I heard about the film, and it was a film that was going to have a limited release in select theaters across the country, including New York City, where I was at the time. And I didn't know that much about the film. I hadn't seen it before that screening, but when I saw the film at the screening, and subsequent to that, after I saw the film multiple times after that, I became so transfixed and my heart was moved. And it was a film that deeply moved me, and it resonated with me on a number of different levels, and it still does. And so I wanted to let you know of another film which I strongly recommend. If you haven't seen this film already, it's really one to check out. The filmmaker is Charles Burnett, and the film in question is from 1977, and the film is called Killer of Sheep. Killer of Sheep. Now, as I mentioned before, this was a film that I had the great honor of being able to see in the movie theater around the late 2000s or so. And this was a time where the film wasn't on DVD or anything like this. It had just been the subject of a restoration. It was made in 1977, but it had long been a film that was unavailable. It was considered maybe not quite a lost film, but it was a film that was impossible to see, very difficult to see. And then it experienced a sort of renaissance in the mid to late 2000s, and so that brought along the film and its re-emergence. As I say, it was shown in theaters for a limited time in select cities, New York being one of them, and then it came out on physical media, and it's now on streaming. And so this is the DVD of Killer of Sheep, and it's also on streaming, and I'll get to that in a moment. But just a few comments about the film. This is a film that has, I think, contained within it, embedded within its very fiber, its very soul. This film has a number of really quite dynamic, and some might say poetically constructed paradoxes. And those paradoxes, I think, highlight and illuminate an approach to sort of human characters and the dignity of those human characters as we see them portrayed in Killer of Sheep, that I think makes of this film and the watching of this film utterly transformative and utterly mesmerizing. The premise of the film might be seen to be somewhat, how should I put it? It's not overly complicated. At least that's how it might seem on the surface. You know, we're dealing with working class family life, and we're dealing with certain scenarios and certain vignettes of stories that seem to emerge and then recede, appear and then disappear. But this is all to say that it is more or less about a family or a family dynamic. It is about the dynamic between a husband and wife, between a man and a woman, between mother and children, between fathers and children, between brothers and sisters, siblings and siblings. And it is all taking place in the context of this working class family. And this kind of how should I put it? It might therefore seem to have an approach that might be akin to, say, something like realism. Sometimes this film has been described as being a sort of American approach, or a modern American approach to neorealism, set against the backdrop, or set within the context of a story about an African American family. So on one hand, I think many of the approaches and styles and the visual imagery that is associated with this film can be described as being realism or neorealism. But on the other hand, this film also is very much populated with a purposeful sense of a poetic style, and a sense of seeing the poetic emerge from daily lives and daily living. And whether that means a sort of a daily life that can be filled with happiness or sadness, whether there is a sense of feeling up or feeling down, in those details emerges a sort of a poetic magic which reaffirms a sense of human dignity and a sense of respect for these characters that we see live their lives out before our very eyes on the screen. And therefore, I think this film is, as I've tried to describe it, a film that is constructed based on a series of wonderfully poetically constructed paradoxes, the real and the poetic, the happy and the sad, sort of the family and work, sort of intimacy and the love between a family or among a family and children. So this and that. And so there is a sense of the characters feeling, on the one hand, maybe life and certain circumstances with respect to the job, or their maybe social standing, or other certain issues of that nature, might be seen as bringing these characters down. But at the same time, there are other aspects, such as the intimacy between two people who love each other, the power of being a parent, and the way of observing the world as a child, and these sorts of things. And from these moments emerges a real soulful and a kind of delicate beauty, a real delicate beauty that can be said to be almost transformative as one is watching this film. And so there is this real sense of a kind of paradoxical structure that leads to some truly poetic moments. Ultimately, just very moving and quite powerful. Very, very powerful indeed. I mentioned at the outset that I had the great pleasure of being able to see this film in the theater. As I say, when this film, after having been almost lost or unavailable for many, many years, it then reemerged, and it was reborn in a way, and it's been in general circulation ever since, including this DVD. But I had the opportunity to see it in the late 2000s, and I do remember being in that theater. It wasn't overly packed. There was a good number in that theater, but I still remember that screening and the beauty of the image. And I remember the audience really reacting to the film. There were some moments where some members of the audience were clapping at particular moments because they were really powerful. There's a particular very iconic musical moment. I won't say exactly what, because I want to leave that surprise for those who haven't seen it, but there's a very powerful moment where a specific song is used, and it's one of the most iconic moments of the film. And I remember after that moment finished in the theater, there was still some of the film left to go, but when that moment finished, I remember some people were applauding in that theater, and the audience was reacting in a way. They were just in awe of what they were seeing. And I remember feeling such happiness at being able to witness this kind of work of art. and it was just a revelation for me. And so I was just stunned, and it's been like that with me ever since. And so if you have not seen this film, Killer of Sheep, by the artist Charles Burnett, then please, I urge you to try to seek it out and give it a chance, and really just let the film just unfold before you, and let it just try to experience its power and its beauty, its poetry and its realism, and its way of dealing with the dignity of these characters. And just I just urge you to give it a chance if you are interested. So this is the film Killer of Sheep. Now I should mention that this is the DVD that I have, which is a wonderful DVD. There are many aspects, there are many other films and short films that are included in this DVD package by Charles Burnett. So you're not just getting Killer of Sheep, you're getting many other things that are by Charles Burnett, the great artist. And so if you are able to get this particular DVD, then I strongly suggest it. But if you are interested in maybe not the DVD option, but maybe streaming options, I will also point out that it is my understanding that Milestone Films, they'll have their website, and I'll put the link below. You can check out their website, and in fact, as my understanding is now, it's June 2020. The films by Charles Burnett, including Killer of Sheep, are made available through streaming, through that website. And so if you're interested, please check out Milestone's website and check out the films that they have in their catalog. They have many films in their catalog, but one of them is Killer of Sheep, as well as other works by Charles Burnett. But if you're interested in a true masterpiece in American cinema, that is just so beautiful in the way it continues to be moving, and the way it taps into something so intimate and so universal. If you're interested in that type of film, then please check out Killer of Sheep. Once again, there's the DVD option here, or there is the streaming option in the Milestone website. So please check it out if you can. It's really worth it. And so Killer of Sheep, you know, I've been meaning to speak more about other Charles Burnett films on this channel, and so maybe one of these days I can try to speak in more detail and go into the specifics of the narrative with respect to Killer of Sheep, as well as other of his films. One day, hopefully, if the opportunities present themselves on this channel, I'd love the opportunity. But in the meantime, my friends, please take this video as my way of trying to encourage you, for those of you who haven't seen this film, to give this film a chance. Killer of Sheep. It is a poetic masterpiece, and it is so affecting, and it maintains a power and dignity and poetic beauty that I think is timeless. So you're in for a real treat for those who are interested. Once again, the film is by Charles Burnett, and it is called Killer of Sheep. Okay, my friends, so that's it for now, and until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great movies. Thank you so much, as always, my friends, for your time. I know you're busy, and so I really appreciate you taking the time to stop by and checking out this video. Once again, my deepest thanks and gratitude to you. And until we meet again, please take good care of yourselves, my friends, and cheers.